No.
No?
Yeah, I am actually.
Oh.
The only thing is I can't. It's a little difficult for me to see.
Well,
She
pull
cl-
it closer.
I can't pull it any closer, and I don't have a contact lens, and I'm out of contact lenses. Could you order one for me tomorrow?
No, I cannot.
Why?
You can order your own contact lenses.
The doctor I went to in Brentwood.
I had no idea who you went to.
Okay. I'll order them tomorrow. I need one at least to see far, and
What are you waiting until next year?
no, I can't wait until next year. I need one sooner. Do you know what? It's incredible. Sarcasm is just one of your many multifaceted personality traits. I love it. Now,
My sarcasm?
yes, it's amazing. Why don't I wait till next year? Do you know what the giveaway prize is tonight? Your viewer appreciation?
Yeah, it's a poster, courtesy of Very Good from the IMN.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, 6 o'clock. I got to get started.
All right.
All right. Thanks. I love you. Bye.
You probably don't even know who the doctor is.
I don't know if I remember his name even. Anyway. Okay. Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Susie's got me all cranked up tonight. We're going to do a couple of little crazy things on the show here. I'm not going to run things exactly in order as I normally do because I've got some great video coverage from Jerry Maddox from a race, and I've got some other stuff as well. So let's get started with the show. We'll be back to tell you more about our sponsors in just a second, but right now...
I'm Jerry Maddox.
And I'm Ryder Maddox in sunny California.
And you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Hosted by Joe Abbate.
Sure are. Oh. Okay, here we go. want to thank Jerry Maddox for sending us that great video. He's been traveling around the country with his son. They've been racing some ARMA Nationals, doing a great job. And they've been flying the Vintage Motocross Q&A banner wherever they go. They got some other great sponsors too, including Remix and Amsoil and Oleans, and just a lot of great people involved with the Jerry Maddox effort to win another national championship on his bike clunker. In the meantime, I want to thank our sponsors, Motion Pro, Vinco, the Moto Barn, Preston Petty Products, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Full Circle Racing, and of course, my dear friend, Mike Chamberlain. Got to thank my friend Al Roof as well, a big show supporter, Fred Hudgens from Durf's Cycle Shop, and my buddy Sean Gomes over at FastGuyStuff.com. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. You may have heard just a moment ago Susie say that the listener or viewer appreciation prize this week is a poster from Terry Good and the International Motocross Museum. And speaking of the International Motocross Museum, no, we've got a next time try this segment video, and I'm running this video because Brian Webley sent in a question about dowels and dowel pins and how to get them out, and I thought this was just the perfect time to run this video. So it coincides with that, which is a question that comes up a little bit later on in the show about how to remove dowel pins, but we've got something right now, compliments of Vinco.com. We're going to run it for you right here. Tonight I'd like to discuss with you dowel pins. Where are they? They're in your clutch cover, usually like this. You'll see them on the end like that. It's there to hold the gasket. But sometimes you have to get them out. Let's get a closer look. Dowel pins can generally be found on clutch covers mostly, although sometimes you will find them on center cases as well. It looks just like this. The purpose of it is to make sure that the cases either align correctly, or when you go to put gaskets on your bike, it holds the gasket in place just like that, so the gasket doesn't shift around when you go to put your screws in. Now, sometimes these little dowel pins will stay inside the case, and if that's the matter, you can use a little tool just like this, and it works like a little slap hammer. They're really easy to use, and I'll give you a little example of exactly how it works. They come in different sizes. You put it over the dowel pin just like this, and what you do is take a little T-handle and you can tighten them up so it fits snugly around that dowel pin. Once you get it nice and tight on there, and they come right out just like that. The reason why many times these will stick into that hole is because of galvanic corrosion through dissimilar metals. What does that exactly mean in layman's term? This piece is steel. This piece is aluminum or magnesium. The steel will rust. It'll begin to eat into the magnesium or into the aluminum. Much like when your forks rust on your bike, when you run your finger over it, it has that nip. It doesn't necessarily just pit, but it starts to corrode, and that's why sometimes they'll stick in there or stick into the cases of your bike. Now, what if you don't have one of these dowel pin sets? Well, I'm going to give you another little tip right here, and it's got something that you can use at home. Guaranteed you have these little tools. This is a punch, and as you can see, it's tapered. You could put that punch right down in that dowel. Make sure it's down there good and secure. Get a pair of pliers and gently, gently twist it out, just like this, and it comes right out. Now, why did I do that? Why didn't I just take the pliers and go right over it and pull it out? Because these little dowel pins are very, very thin. What's going to happen is if you go to grab it with a pair of pliers like this and you go to take it out of there, you're definitely going to bend it. It's going to get flattened out. You're not going to be able to get it straightened out again and get it back in that hole. And you need it there in order to keep this cover straight on the bike and also hold your gasket in place. Generally, as I mentioned, these pins usually go in the case first and not in the side cover, but sometimes they come out in the clutch cover as well. There you have it from Vinco. And speaking of, Vinco. Speaking of Vinco, we're going to take a little commercial break, and we will be right back with more Vintage Motocross
I'm
Q&A.
Dave Arnold. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate. We'll be right back.
Vinco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vinco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vinco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vinco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vinco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
I don't know if you guys have checked out Vinco lately, but they've got piston kits, connecting rod kits, crankshafts. They've got the air shocks. They've got over 1,000 products in their catalog. Check them out at Vinco.com. What's it worth? This segment of the show is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Be sure to see Tom McAllister. Now, what's it worth? This week we've got a 1971 Yamaha DT250. Absolutely beautiful bike. It's sold on Bring a Trailer. And according to this, it's got 19 miles on it. It's overboard. It's got a 5-speed transmission, a black vinyl seat, high mount exhaust, and it gives a basic description the way they always do over there at Bring a Trailer. But it is a spectacular motorcycle. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of it. This is, of course, the segment of the show where if you guess how much this bike sells for, I'm going to give you a nice ruler like this, compliments of Motion Pro. Anyway, the bike is beautiful. It is a 71 Yamaha DT, and of all the colors the Yamahas came with during that era, I really love this orange cover the best. It's got that oil injection system. There's a beautiful shot here of the tank, and something that is very, very expensive and difficult to come by these days are the emblems that are on these tanks. They are plastic, and that's the way they were originally. A closer look under the seat, and we can see a lot of detail went into this bike. You can see that the seat pan is either new or has been restored to perfection. The battery box is beautiful. All the hinges and clasps, everything under that seat looking the way it should. Closer look at the front wheel, and we see one of the things that I am a stickler for, and any discriminate restorer would notice: the correct tires are on this bike. The aluminum, not overdone, yet polished to a nice degree. Same thing goes for the backing plates and the hubs. Here's a real nice shot of something I also found just beautiful about this bike: the blinkers and the reflectors. Plastic like that, 50 years old, not so easy to find. Somebody really, really took the time to do a spectacular job on this bike. So, on Bring a Trailer plus a 5% fee, how much do you think this bike recently sold for? 71 DT250. 8,000? 9,000. Come on. If you only want to pay $9,000 for this bike, you still got your communion money. How much really? Here we go. Bike went for $10,000 plus a 5% buyer's premium. That was on May 20th. If Susie tells me who got to 10,000 or even 10,500,
somebody got it right on the bazooka.
Who got it?
That would be Keith Zebrig.
Keith Zebrig. Is that it? Zebrig?
Zibrig.
Keith, get me your address. I will mail you a nice shop ruler like this, compliments of motionpro.com. What do you get, 10,500?
10,000.
10,000? That's exactly how much it went for, 10,000. And that segment is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Tom McAllister, all the rims, spokes, and nipples anybody could ever ask for, lacing and truing for your on-road, off-road, vintage, and dual-purpose bikes. If you need a rear brake plate for your CZ, you still got them, just $179 with the CZ logo, $169 without the CZ logo on it. Something very, very special happened this week, and I picked up on it on Facebook, but then I called a couple of friends to confirm, and it's just one of those things that, well, it's just how I see it. And just how I see it is, I don't think there's a more generous group in the world and a more caring group than the vintage motocross crowd. I've witnessed it time and time again over my 24 years being involved in vintage, with guys helping out with motorcycles, parts, racing, helping guys home when they've twisted their arms or their legs, helping them with motorcycles. It seems to never end. And this time, well, something really special happened to a nice young man that I've had on this show as a guest. His name is Cody Schock, and I especially like Cody not only because of his excellent skills when it comes to supercross and motocross, but he's also a big proponent of vintage motocross. And this week, two other guys that you're familiar with, Gary Chaplin here on the left and Norm Francis, did something really, really wonderful for Cody. And well, I'm going to show you what it is. This is another one of those videos that we were able to capture. And you're going to see something here that's rather heartwarming. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. It'll just show you how one Norm Francis. Gary Chaplin helped him out with this as well. And they did this, it was at Pala last week during the opening race.
But we all got new contract for Vintage Supercross. I want to give you something that would remind you of everything you did. Okay? All right. And we all know how much you like vintage bikes.
Uh-huh. Oh, that is sick. No way. I'm about to ride this for today. Screw the race bike.
So, and what that is, that's the first generation Yamaha 125 MX. And since you're riding the newest generation of the 4-stroke version, you figured it'd be perfect. And it's about as close to my original race bike that I can build.
What do you think, Cody? That's fucking cool. That is cool. Thanks, dude. That is cool.
If that isn't one of the most heartwarming stories I have ever seen, and it was wonderful that they captured it on film. I guess you could still call it film. And what happened there was it was a bike that Norm Francis had some parts for and some pieces. And Cody, he was on the show. He had no sponsor just a week before the Supercross season was about to begin. He did wind up getting picked up by Muckoff and a couple of other sponsors. And he did really well. He finished third. Unfortunately, between the AMA and Feld and Supercross and people like that, they only pay so much money and give so many prizes back in that category. So Cody doesn't wind up getting anything, but he did wind up getting this incredible motorcycle from Norm Francis. I'm going to give you one more look at Cody, how surprised he was, and just one more look. There you have it. There you have it again. And yeah, there you have it, Norm Francis and Cody Schock. Keep an eye out for Cody if you're up at Hangtown this weekend or any place there's a motocross or supercross going on. Look for Cody Schock. He's a heck of a guy with a lot of heart and a lot of drive. We love him and we wish him all the best. Cody Schock. And here's the problem segment tonight, which is brought to you by Motion Pro. Don't forget, 20% off everything across the board at Motion Pro. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But first of all, let's get to some of the questions that have been sent to us. Lanny J. As long as folks shop by price, there will be inferior stuff for sale. I haven't raised the price of my CZ tanks ever. Yet guys are buying tanks that don't look right, don't fit right, have low quality workmanship, but hey, shipping is free. You know, I know exactly what you're talking about, Lanny, and we were talking about the price of things and the quality of work. If anybody has ever seen Lanny J's work, it is quite impressive. Yeah, I take dents out of aluminum tanks. Lanny could take a raw piece of aluminum and make you a tank from that. a craftsman beyond words. Lanny is absolutely fantastic. And he's also very in touch with some people who are, let's put it this way. There are people in India that are building tanks that aren't worth crap. And when you get them here, they don't fit right and they leak. Lanny, all I can do is tell you this. This is something I've often remembered. The bitterness of poor quality is remembered long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. So, you know what, Lanny? On my website, if it were up to me and I was in the same business as you, I would remind people of that, okay? And, yeah, the low price, that's only for so long. And then the rest is a lot of sorrow. Brian Webley, Joe, hollow dowel removal has always been a 50-50 deal for me. Some easy, some I ruin. Is there a method for safe removal 2 and 4 stroke? If you are watching us at the beginning of the show, Brian Webley, I had a really nice video of me doing something for the people over at Vintco. And I used one of our other sponsors' tools. It's this right here. This is the dowel puller set available from Motion Pro. You can't miss with this. It's small. It's easy to use. Got the colors from 8 to 14 millimeters. Here it is. Get over to motionpro.com. Yes, you could use the plier thing with the punch. Don't do that. Get this. You'll take them out like a professional. It's going to work every time. Right now, we're going to take another commercial break, and we will be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Tommy Croft, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate. We'll be right back with my dear friend Joe.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 company. Anything you donate or buy from their website is 100% tax deductible. And if you were not at the first fundraiser, it was quite an evening. You can capture it or actually see it as if you were there on this thumb drive. You'll see Roger DeCoster, Bob Hanna, Ricky Johnson, Brian Myers, Koff, Barry Higgins, Warren Reed, and so many more. Get over to the International Motocross Museum website. Get this thumb drive, or you can get a lot of other great stuff over there too, including clocks, sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, of course, posters. Somebody's going to win one in just a little while here on the show, and so much more. Thank you, Terry and Cindy Good, for all you do for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A in the Moto Showcase tonight, which is brought to you by Preston Petty Products. Be sure to get over to PrestonPettyProducts.com. Nice bike we have in here tonight comes from Ron Koval. Ron Koval has a 1974 Honda CR250, and Ron says that this 250 was restored mainly by him. Most of the parts were NOS or bought through CMSNL. The tank was refurbished by a friend who owns a street rod shop in Kansas City. Also, he painted the frame, side covers, and the expert green paint on the tank and the side panels. Fenders are NOS. Exhaust and pickle were restored by a friend who builds pipes here in Kansas City. I believe from start to finish, it took me about 2 years searching for parts and taking my time to reassemble it. Spokes are by Buchanan Wheels. Their NOS did. The seat is all original. The shocks are rebuilt and restored by Ben Decker at Decker Performance, also in Kansas City. I'm very, very proud of the results in this being my first bike that I'd ever done from the ground up. Well, Ron Cabal, you should be very, very impressed and very, very proud of yourself. You did an amazing job. We were very, very happy to have it here on the show. And for you sending in that bike this week, we are going to get you a set of grips, GP Works grips, compliments of Paul Standard and PrestonPettyProducts.com. The only thing you have to do, Ron, is get a hold of me and give me your mailing address, and I will be sure to get the Paul Standard. You get yourself a pair of grips, just like this. What do we got next on the show, Susie?
I don't know.
Oh, did you know? Did you know? This is a segment that is usually brought to you by Jeff Kokoski. Jeff had to take a week off. He needed a little time to himself to regroup. So I put something together, and it's about tires. It's about pneumatic tires, actually. The real name that made a mark was Robert Thompson in 1822 to 73. Robert Thompson, people may not know that name from tires, but he was the man who was also credited for inventing the fountain pen. Robert was an engineer, and he was credited for that invention, as well as the pneumatic tire, which he fitted to his bicycles. He was given a patent by the French in 1846, and a year later in 47, the USA also gave him a patent. How did that happen? Anyway, Robert had a simple rubber casing that was to be filled with air and used on a bicycle. His invention was far from foolproof, and there was a problem with the retention of the air. He later tried and experimented with a tube, but that generally failed as well, believe it or not. And Robert, well, he kept on trying, but it was John Dunlop, a name we're all familiar with when it comes to tires. He was the next man who made a significant contribution, and he kind of reinvented the pneumatic tire. Dunlop's invention of the pneumatic tire in 1888 really was revolutionary, and the motorbike had become a very important part as it had replaced the bicycle at that time. The new design had enhanced the road grip and traction on the road. The earlier cross-ply structures where the threads were woven across one another. Such tires had turgid sidewalls. They could not easily flex, especially while negotiating turns. So much had happened between that time. Michelin made another improvement. They produced a rubber tread that was woven radially. This gave motorcycles an incredible amount of traction, and tires just keep getting better with people like Firestone and so many more coming in. The one thing I could not find out, and I was very, very interested in knowing this, was when was the first knobby tire produced? Now you think about scrambles and trials tires. We see trials tires on some of the older bikes like Greaves and BSAs back when they were calling it scrambling before it was motocross. But I personally could not find where or when the first knobby tire was produced. If somebody knows, I'd like to know about that. Don't forget, we've got a lot of shirts available. We've got t-shirts and hoodies, sleeveless, long sleeve, short sleeve, gray, white, black. Got one like I have on right here, and you could get one. You can order it from us. It's just $19.99 and up. Come in sizes from small all the way up to quadruple. Or do we have 5X? We can even get 5X in hoodies. Okay? So whatever size shirt you want in whatever color, get a hold of me and I will tell the boss. You want to see the boss? Here she is right here. This is where the shirts come from. Susie, how many shirts? I mean, not how many. You sent down how many shirts today to somebody?
14 to Dirks.
14 to Dirk. And you've been making a steady amount for a while now.
Yeah, steady amount
of shirts.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody wants, say, a Kawasaki green shirt with a logo on it.
I can do whatever.
Any color?
Any color.
Okay.
Any size, any logo. I can do your logo, their logo, whatever you want.
Okay.
I can do it.
Very good. There she is, Susie, in the accounting, receivables department, in the shirt department, and one of the producers of the show. Where are we now? We are in the Next Time Try This segment. No, I did that already. We are in This Week in Motocross History. It is brought to you by RacerX.com, available online and on your newsstand now. 1975, Over in Sweden, at the FIM 125cc Grand Prix, Suzuki rider Gaston Rayer kept his hot streak going in his 7th moto win in a row in what was the first year of the FIM 125cc Motocross World Championship. Rayer was followed home in the first moto by Andre Mallard, the future FIM 500cc Motocross World Champion. Then in the second moto by Akira Watanabe, the eventual 125cc champion. For his own part, Rayer would win 3 straight 125cc world titles, the late Gaston Rayer. 1980, the AMA 500cc National at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Team Honda's Chuck Sun scored his first AMA National win. Sun, who hailed from Oregon, would go on to become the 1980 AMA 500cc National Champion. And in 1984, AMA National Championship visited High Point Raceway, where Yamaha's Brock Glover once again had the dubious task of trying to beat David Bailey's Exotic Works Honda on basically a production YZ490 airliner, as Yamaha had pretty much decided to stop building works bikes for motocross 2 years before the AMA's production rule went into effect. Bailey got the better of Glover in the second time out, but it was a moral victory for Golden Boy in the first moto. That's what's happening this week in motocross history. We will get down to the finish line right now. The finish line is, of course, brought to you by my dear friend, Paul Parkinson Sr. Paul Parkinson Sr. You know, you hear me talk about things like stuff that's in this picture right here. Rollers, chain guides, different mounts, air filter cages for your CR250s and more. It's also got kickstarters like this for your CR125 and 250. Soon to be seen, gear sets. That's right, lay shafts, primary shafts, gears for different makes and models. You know what I find very, very interesting? I'm going to show it to you right here. You see this? One of these silencers is an OEM Honda silencer for a 1973-74 CR125 or 250. If you're lucky enough to find one in excellent condition, you'll pay $7? No. You'll pay $1,000 for one if you see one NOS on eBay or someplace else. Beat up ones still go for $500, $600, $700, and they're beat up and they have to be restored. One of these is a replica from replicamotorcycleparts.com. $595, replicamotorcycleparts.com. I talked to Paul on the phone this morning. He just ordered another machine to laser print more material. He can't keep up with the demand. If you want something, you better go over to replicamotorcycleparts.com right now. Paul Parkinson is working 60, 70, 80 hours a week to get stuff on the shelf. He says he can't keep up with it, and he's getting rave reviews wherever he goes. Paul Parkinson, replicamotorcycleparts.com. This weekend, you know where it happens, up in Sacramento. It's the 55th running of the Hangtown National. They'll all be up there. Jet Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, you name it, they'll all be out there tearing it up for the big bucks at Hangtown this weekend. And MX Rewind for you vintage guys back east comes up June 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is at the world-famous horsepower house of Unadilla. What do they call it, Susie? Oh, the home of horsepower. Unadilla. Hubba. What? Oh, we have the winner?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about that. Who won the poster of their choice from the International Motocross Museum in Terrygood?
That would be Scott Behrens.
Scott Behrens?
Behrens, yes, Scott Behrens.
Behrens?
Behrens. He is the winner of the Viewer Appreciation Prize, and he'll have a poster of his choice from the IMM.
Awesome.
Very good.
That is awesome. I kind of know Scott Behrens. He's kind of a local hot shoe back there in District 34. Scott Behrens, a good guy. Scott, get me your mailing address and go to the International Motocross Museum website, pick out a poster, let me know your address, what poster you like. I'll have Terry Good send you over something right away. Scott Behrens, thank you so much for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. What else do we have going on here? I think that's about it. Sponsorship opportunities are still available. In fact, I'm going to be coming out with something in the next couple of weeks. You're going to see a little bit of a different background back here. And I got something special coming up for some of the smaller businesses that really want to get in on some of the advertising here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We have been hitting over 15, 17, 18,000 people a week. That's a lot of eyes on your product. And we could do it for a lot less than what even Facebook promises you on some of their programs for $5 a day, $10 a day. I got something real, real special coming up for you on Vintage Motocross Q&A. But for now, let me get him. It's kind of hot here. Gino! Kind of hot here. And I'm going to let him in. And then we're going to close out again with a little action from we're going to close out with a little action from Jerry Maddox again. And the race we saw a little bit earlier, Gino. Come on. Okay, Gino. Okay. We're gonna show that race again, and we'll wrap it up. Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll see you next time. No, but show the video.
I'm Heikki Mikkola. We will be right back.
That was perfect, Heikki.